Hey guys, this is your math lesson for Monday, April 13th. And since you have your math books at home now, we are going to work out of those. So I want you to get on page 196 of your Blue Dot Math book. So go ahead and get that out and get that ready, page 196. And we're going to work through a lesson just like we would if we were in class, okay? The difference is you're there and I'm here, but I think we can handle it. So let's see how it goes, okay? So today we're going to talk about estimating. Now, estimating is a word we use a lot, and hopefully you remember what it means. Estimating just means when you can't have the actual real measurement of something, you can estimate it. That's a really good guess. Not a crazy guess, not a guess that's really, really far off, but it's one that's really pretty good, okay? So that's what we're working on today's lesson. If we look up here, it says, what does it mean to estimate? Well, sometimes you don't need an exact measurement. You can use math to make an estimate. Now, I use estimating a lot when I go to the grocery store. So let's say in my wallet I have $20 and I need some milk and I need some bread and maybe I need a couple apples. And then Miss Alex comes with me and she says, Mom, please, can I get some ice cream? And I think for a minute, well, I don't know if I have enough money for all of that. So I have to estimate, I start adding in my head, how much does the bread cost and how much does the milk cost? And then do I have enough left over to get the ice cream? Well, I don't have the exact amount, but I can pretty much estimate if I have enough money. Now, Mr. Schaefer also estimates. He does more of like this kind of measuring when it comes to the measuring of lengths, how long something is or what size something is. Today, he is using estimating because our water heater broke. So this is a true story. So our water heater is not working and he has to put in a new one. Well, sometimes the one that you have and the ones that you can buy now are different. So he didn't have the exact measurement of the size of our water heater, but when he went to the store, he was looking at the choices that he had of water heaters to buy for a new one, and he did have those sizes. So he had to estimate if the new one was small enough to fit into the hole where the other one was. So he had to estimate the length of it, the width of it, and the height of it to see if it would fit in that location, because he did not have the old water heater. Now, a water heater is humongous. It's like as tall as he is, and it weighs a ton. So it's not like we could just put it in our pocket and take it there and measure it. So he had to estimate it. So he had to try to figure that out. So there are a few tricks that I use sometimes for estimating, and some of them are here in your book, okay? The first one says that if you want to measure something in centimeters, you can use your pinky, okay? And this is one I actually do tell all my students. This is one I use in real life myself. If you look at how wide your pinky is, not how long it is, just how wide it is from this side to this side, like they have in this picture here, that's about a centimeter. So about like the fingernail part, that's about a centimeter, okay? Pretty small. They tell you that a quarter is about 1 inch. So if you were to estimate something in inches and you had a quarter, that quarter would help you know. Something I use and something that I want to tell you guys about is this finger, okay? It's actually our thumb. The reason I like to use body parts is because when you're out somewhere, you don't always have a tape measure, you don't have a ruler, you don't have a way to measure something, but you always have everything on your body, okay? You have your pinky if you want to measure in centimeters, and you're going to have this thumb if you want to measure in inches, okay? Now, your whole thumb, yeah, that's not what we're going to use. If you take your thumb and you bend it right here, and you go from the tip of your thumb to this first knuckle, so just, it's got your fingernail, and then it's got a little bit more after. So just where that first bend is, that's about 1 inch, okay? And that's what I use to try to measure. I use inches with my thumb, okay? So that's also about 1 inch right there. The next one is feet, okay? Measuring things in feet. Now, I'm sure you can think about it. Its name is foot, so some people's feet on their body is about this length, and the foot is the same as 12 inches. That's the same as one ruler, okay? We use rulers in the classroom, and that's 12 inches, and that's a foot. They're all the same. They say that a loaf of bread is about a foot. Yeah, I'd say so. Something on your body that you can use. A lot of times Mrs. Schaefer takes her arm. You can see my elbow, and you can see my wrist, okay? If I bend my hand up, so just from the elbow to the wrist, that's about a foot for me, okay? From here to here. Some of you might have a little bit smaller of an arm than I do, and it may not be quite a foot until you get a little bit older. But that's what I use because I always have my arms with me. So if I need to measure in feet, I kind of go with that, okay? Because my feet are the actual feet on my body are a lot smaller than an actual foot, okay? I imagine that's the same with you guys. The last one, that's meters, okay? And I've shown you that big meter stick at school. It's that really big one. Sometimes we use a meter stick, sometimes we use a yardstick. They're pretty close to the same length. But they say the width of the door. Not how tall the door is, but how wide it is when you walk through it. That's about a meter. So we're going to use that information, and we're going to do this bottom part here together. It says, what do you know about units to measure and estimate lengths? Well, Ty wants to estimate the length of his toy car. There's his car, and he wants to estimate that. He thinks that 2/4 would fit underneath of his car. Okay, so he puts his car there. Notice when he lines it up, he lines up the edge of the quarter with the edge of the car. This wouldn't work out so well if he tried to line up the quarter in the middle of the car. That wouldn't work. Or if he tried to scoot the car forward and measure it, that wouldn't work. You got to line him up right here on the edge. And then you can see if that car is about 2/4. If you look at the front of the car where it comes down, it's about right there. So 2/4 is a pretty good guess, but it's not exact. That's why it's an estimate. So is the length of the toy car longer or shorter than 2/4? Well, the car, to me, looks shorter. Okay. So what do you think is a good estimate for the length of the car that Ty owns? Do you think we know 2 is too much? Well, if I were to take one of those quarters away, I think that'd be way too small. So we know it's going to be between 1 inch and 2 inches. So sometimes the easiest way to do that is if we write 2 inches and then we use either greater than or less than. Those are the alligator mouths. Okay? So we know our car is shorter than it, so we know that the car is less than 2 inches. So that's what you can write on that line. Less than 2 inches. We don't know exactly how much because we didn't measure it. That's why we say less than. Okay? Now, let's go to the next page. This is page 197. And it says, use the measurements that you already know to estimate lengths. Okay, we just talked about those. Julia wants to estimate the length of her pencil box. She knows a marker is about 14 centimeters long. Okay, so this is like your art box, and this is a marker. And she says that marker's 14. She must have measured that one. So she thinks this is 14 and this is her art box. Which best describes the length of the pencil box? Is the pencil box less than 14 centimeters? Well, if this is 14, does this look less than it? I don't think so. We're not going to mark that one. Less than 28 centimeters. 28? Where'd that come from? Well, let me help you out. If Mrs. Schaefer, and I'm not like the best drawer, but if I were to draw another marker right next to that one, that's 2 markers in a row. As long as these are lined up here and these are touching here, this one would be 14 and this one would be 14. Altogether, 2 markers would make 28 centimeters, okay? Because 14 plus 14, that's 28. So now, is that art box less than 28? Well, we know 28 would come all the way out to here, and that art box doesn't. So yes, it is less than 28. This one says more than 14. Well, 1 marker is 14, and I know that's a very easy one for me. I know that art box is definitely more than 1 marker, which is 14. Is it more than 2 markers? No, because here's the end of that second marker, and that art box is not more than it. So the only two you check is less than 28 and more than 14. So we don't have exact measurement, but we know it's between those two. Okay. Hannah estimates that Julia's pencil box is 30 centimeters long. Is this a good estimate? Explain why or why not. Well, guys, let's think about that for a second. If I have two markers together and that's 28, Julia thinks the art box is even longer than that and it's 30. I don't think that's right. I think it's less than that. So the question says, is it a good estimate? First thing we write is no, that's not a good estimate, because 30, we'd have to go even further and it'd be like out here. And that art box is not that long. I think if this is 28, it's even less than 28. So I start going down a little bit, 27, down a little bit, 26. I think I'm going to settle on 25. Okay? So 30 is too long. We know that. I think 25 is better. We think 25 centimeters is a better estimate for that art box. Okay, so that's your lesson today about measurement, estimating measurement, I should say. And that's page 196, 197. Now, what I'd like for you to do is get out your yellow dot math book, and I want you to do page 217 and 218. It's also about measuring, okay? So that's your assignment for April 13th. Make sure you get this filled out in your blue dot, so sorry. And then go to your yellow dot and do page 217 and 218. And then you're going to tear that one out, because that's in your other book, and you can tear it out. And when you turn in all your work, you're going to go ahead and turn in page 217 and 218, okay? See you later, guys. Bye.